For those that are getting ready to either retire early or just want to have a better life, a balanced life in the here and now, you know that your life is not balanced, it's upside down, you've got too much stress in your life. These principles, they may seem inconsequential or superfluous, but I tell you, they make all the difference to someone that is getting ready to either retire early and is unsure, uncertain, is in fear of the unknown and the future and want to fix their lives right now. These are principles that you can live by.
So it's Indian night. We have Indian flavored lentils, we have Indian rice, we have some vegetables, just in garlic, sauteed in garlic, and homemade rolls. So we don't eat pizza every night. Honey, come eat.
We don't?
No, we don't eat pizza every night.
Hey, what is wrong? Hey, welcome back to our Retire Early Lifestyle. We're here in the office working our frugality, which we call smart frugality, rich frugality, industrious frugality, and there was another one. What was the fourth one? Okay, that's good enough, 3. So we're trying to make a distinction. We are definitely making a distinction because there's frugality and then there's frugality. They're not all the same. Here's why. Our frugality allowed us, when we were in our 30s, to travel the United States in a 30-foot travel trailer with wife and children, full-time for several years, toes in the sand, mountains, deserts, everywhere. I'm talking visiting all of the United States. In our 40s, it allowed me to be a stay-at-home dad and a homesteader, and in our 50s, it allowed us to travel the world. Take note, the whole time we were well below our retirement age. And no, we didn't have a 6-figure income and we didn't win the lottery. So yeah, this is definitely smart frugality, rich frugality, industrious frugality. Take your pick. Which one do you like best? Let me know in the comments which one you like best. I really want to know. So what are the 3 principles coming from somebody with that background? Well, all it takes sometimes is for you to just do something a little bit better. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here, but we do need to understand how we can just do things just a little bit different or a little bit better, and the results are exponentially, you just get a lot more return on your investment. And so the first principle is that your frugality has to be practical. So take notes, because as I explain these principles, start thinking about your average, quote-unquote, normal frugal person and what you see, like on social media, because nowadays that's where people congregate. I mean, how likely was it for you to run into somebody that would say, I really want to buy some shirts, but I'm saving up for my early retirement. I've got to put everything in my investments. I've got my rules. I'm not going to be able to do it. Normally, you won't run into people on the street. They'll tell you that. And so you see it on social media, and that's what you see. What is understood to be a normal frugality, which to us is going back to the dinosaurs, because we've been practicing our frugality, as I've just said, all our lives, more than 3 decades. And so practical, it has to be practical. That means, for example, when the portable phones, I think it was the 90s, not sure the exact years, but you had the portable phones, right? And you had all this variety of phones, and you can spend $20 or something on a phone, or 25 or 30 or whatever it was, or you could get the latest, which first you had the flip phones, then you had the Blackberries, then you had the other whatever other phones, and then you had Android and all these kind of phones like that. So there's always a upgrade, right? And so, but back then you had the regular cheapy phone, which from a standard frugal point of view is the one you would get. But I noticed that when I put the phone in my pocket, it was always dialing people. The phone was sitting there in my pocket, and I'd hear people going, hello, hello. This happened all the time. You'd accidentally dial because it was in your pocket, and you might lean on something or put your hand in here to get your pen or whatever. Somehow the redial got pushed and your phone was dialing and you didn't mean it to. So it was a big hassle. So practically speaking, the flip phone, which was the latest upgrade at that time, and was it cost 10 times as much as the cheapest, or maybe 6 times as much. It cost a lot more than the cheapest phone because it was the top of the line phone at the time. It was $300. And for someone to be carrying a $300 flip phone at that time, remember this was the 90s, so it was like 25 years or more ago. And so for your friends that know you to be frugal, to see you pull out a flip phone, they're like, things that make you go, it's like, what? I thought the guy was frugal. What's going on? Why does he have the latest model? And a lot of times people may not understand. You're not keeping up with the Joneses, but you are I'm getting ahead of myself. That's another one. But rule number 1, you get my point. It has to be practical. Your frugality has to be practical. What is the point of sitting there getting the cheapest phone and then it causes me nothing but headaches? That's not living. But don't you be getting that flip phone or the latest phone just because. That's different. Which brings me to rule number 2. You've heard it said, don't keep up with the Joneses. Well, that's true. Don't keep up with the Joneses. But as in the case I just explained, something may appear as keeping up with the Joneses, but if when you have a different reason for doing something, other people, your other non-frugal friends or frugal friends might realize, this is why I've said before, we used to confuse our friends. All of our friends were always confused because the frugal ones didn't understand how a frugal person spends the highest amount on the latest upgrade of a gadget, and they're supposed to be frugal. And then other people that weren't frugal, but they knew you to be frugal, got jealous. It's like, well, wait a minute, this guy is a frugal guy, and I don't have a flip phone, kind of thing. Well, gee, I make way more than he does, and I don't carry a flip phone. How does he carry a flip phone? In this day and age, it would be, what's the latest $1,000 Samsung whatever, fill in the blanks. So yeah, you shouldn't be keeping up with the Joneses just because. But if it's practical, now don't be using that as an excuse to keep up with the Joneses just for the sake of keeping up with the Joneses. There is a distinction here. It has to be practical, and the practicality of it has to make your life practical. So, imagine if you had called a client on your cheapy phone and ended the call, and then 6 hours later, your phone accidentally redials and you call that client, and then you don't know he's on there going, hello, hello, and you're talking about something you don't want the client to hear, and he hears you, and then he cancels. That kind of stuff happens. Number 3, shop around. You would think you wouldn't have to tell people to shop around, but believe me, you do. They're suckered into a sale, and there is a reason to buy when it's on sale. If it's practical, you can buy it when it's on sale. But if it's not practical and you have no reason, don't buy it just because it's on sale. But that doesn't mean you don't shop around. There's a difference. It's like, again, if the sole purpose, and that's the theme here, if the sole purpose is to keep up with the Joneses, if the sole purpose is to buy it because it's on sale, but it's something you really can wait, but if it's something you need that's going to make your life, like say I need something, like a computer for my office to make these videos, for example, or a camera. For example, when you went out and watched a lot of, in years past, you would watch all these vloggers and people, and they always like to put down, because people would ask them, they thought that the camera made the vlog. And so people would say, oh, what kind of camera do you use? And they'd say, oh, I use this camera, I use that camera. How many people know that I shopped around for this camera? People used to want to know years ago, well, what camera do you use? I got this camera for 20 bucks. I've had it. This camera right here that I'm talking to right now, which I have so much difficulty talking to cameras, because it's like staring at some inanimate object, or,
He keeps looking at me. That's what he's doing.
I'd much rather look at my pretty wife than this camera any day of the week. Come on. All right, so anyway, nobody in their right mind would ever think I paid 20 bucks for this camera. I've had this camera for like, I don't know, 8 years. This camera has outlived other cameras that I paid way more money for. On top of that, this camera does even better when it's windy, which is gets windy around here, and that other camera, I can't hardly use it. So my point is, people need to shop around because it's just practical to shop around, because it makes sense to shop around, and because when it's something that you were going to buy anyway, shop around. It's funny because I think it's because of social media. Never before have we been in a position where we see things being repeated over and over and over. And what happens when we see things repeated over and over, especially in writing, which is what social media is? Once it becomes a habit that we keep reading these principles over and over and over, you hear it said wants or needs, and therefore if it's a want, why, you know, you've got carte blanche or a blank check, so to speak, to go buy it. Yes, but now you have these principles. Yes, it's something that you need. Yes, you're separating your needs and your wants. But I'm saying that beyond that, it has to be practical when you get that thing that you need. And, you know, if it makes you look like you're keeping up with the Joneses, it's okay as long as you shopped around. So no longer do we have to sit here and hear things like, well, needs and wants, which, I mean, yeah, it's pretty basic. We need to clarify needs and wants. This makes all the difference for those that are getting ready to either retire early or just want to have a better life, a balanced life in the here and now. You've got too much stress in your life. These principles, they may seem inconsequential or superfluous, but I tell you, they make all the difference to someone that is getting ready to either retire early and is unsure, uncertain, is in fear of the unknown and the future, and want to fix their lives right now. They don't want to wait 20 years, 20 more years, and they want a better life in the here and now. These are principles that you can live by. You have one?
Yeah, don't do spur of the moment shopping. I think that a lot of times we think that we need something and really we don't need it, but we talk ourselves into needing it, and that's spur of the moment shopping.
Well, I had a lady that said, I've got a problem. I can't stop spur of the moment buying. What's that called? There's a name for it.
Free?
It's called impulse buy. I can't stop impulse buying. Here's what happened, and this was after she retired early. What happened was that when she was employed, you know, she went through the stage where she was a consumer, okay? But what happened when she retired early, she still had this, you know, this habit. It had become a habit, as I've discussed habits, and she wanted to know how to break the habit. So now you can write these 3 principles down, right? And before you make a purchase, you can review these 3 principles. And you can go through them and you can ask yourself, well, okay, is it practical? Well, in what way is it not practical? Did I shop around? No, I didn't shop around, but it's on sale. Are you buying it just because it's on sale? So, I mean, these 3 principles, they will keep you out of trouble. You know, and am I buying it because the neighbor's got one, or my friend's got one, or, you know, we say keeping up with the Joneses, but really, it's just keeping up with other people. Whether it's your associates at work or people you see when you go to the park and walk at the park and you see them sitting around with the phone and newest phone and the newest gadget or whatever, you know. All right, thanks for coming to the channel. Hope you got something out of that. Have a wonderful day.